All right, welcome to Talkin Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do our daily Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update, and I also need to go through a few earnings reports because we had two huge reports after hours, and they're definitely affecting Bitcoin. So we're going to go through all of that. If you're new to the channel, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could please smash the like button, it helps the channel out so much. I appreciate it very much. Lastly, if you want to become a member, you can hit the join button on YouTube, and you can become a member and get some members-only content, as well as once a week we do a members-only live stream. So we'd like to see you there. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's talk about the Bitcoin miners, and I have to talk about Apple and Amazon because they reported after hours, and obviously that has a big impact on the market. Before I go through the big board, I want to show you what happened on the stock market on the day. This was before the after hours earnings. So the S&P 500 was down 0.6. The Dow was up 0.6. The NASDAQ was down 1.6%. So that's back-to-back days. Yesterday, the NASDAQ was down 2%. Today, it was down 1.6%. And the Russell was up 0.1%. So not a lot of activity other than the NASDAQ. Now, this is all the big tech earnings. Okay, so with that in mind, let's look at today's big board of Bitcoin miners. And you're going to see it is almost straight red. DMG was up 0.8% for whatever reason. Everything else on this board is red. I'm going to start with the big news. Everybody probably knows by now, Core Scientific had some very bad news to report. They're unable to pay their next debt payments. So I did do a separate video on that today. You can watch my Core Scientific video, and I literally went through their SEC filing. But I'm going to start there. Stock ticker CORZ down 78%. So obviously that was the worst performer on the day. That is now trading at 22 cents, and it's all but priced to go out of business. Argo blockchain pulled back under $2. That was down almost 15% today. So Argo had a big run up. Some of these stocks were on a nice rally, and today is a setback. So Argo blockchain was down 15% today. Wolf was down 10.7% today. That was the other double-digit move. Other than that, everything was single digits, but there was a lot of 5%, 6%, 7%. So I just want to talk about a few of these. Bitfarms was down 5.88%. HUT was down 6.19%. So those did not hold up very well on the day. You'll see Bitfarms held at exactly $1. So that $1 mark did hold, so that was encouraging, but down 5.8% on a day where Bitcoin was relatively neutral. You'll see when we get to the charts. Bitcoin did not have much activity at all today. Okay, Hive and Cleanspark did a little better. They were down about 1.5%. Riot was down over 3%. Marathon was only down 1%. And Marathon is usually one of the bigger movers. So when the day is good, they usually go up more than everyone else. And when the day is bad, they usually go down more than everyone else. So today they held pretty steady, and they're at $13.65. So you can take a look at the rest of the board. There's not really much good news on this board. The best you hoped for was somewhere in the neighborhood of break even today, but essentially everybody was in the red, with a few having very bad days, and then obviously Core Scientific having a nightmare of a day today. Okay, so I want to go to the Bitcoin chart, and we'll take a look at that. But first, I want to show you what happened after hours, because that has affected the price of Bitcoin, and we'll see that when we get to the chart. So, okay, so as we speak, as I'm recording, this is after hours. Amazon's down about 18% now. It did work its way back up to $90, but previously its 52-week low was $101. So it's now $11 underneath that. So you can see Amazon got hit hard, and it's all about the fourth quarter, and this is what we were worried about. Third quarter earnings have been fairly decent, but everybody is lowering expectations for the fourth quarter, particularly the big tech companies. So the last one to report is Apple. We're now at $142. So Apple was down 3% on the day. It's down 1.4% after hours. Like I said, just 1 or 2 minutes after this came out, I started recording this video. The instant reaction to this was Apple's stock was down about 5%. So again, I haven't even gotten able to read their report. As I'm recording this, they're having their earnings call, so I'll have to listen to that later. But it looks like they're climbing back up close to break even. So this must not have been the disaster that most of the other reports were. And we talked about that all week this week, that I really felt like out of everybody, Apple was most likely to succeed. So I think it looks like they're going to be okay, but again, too soon to tell, and I haven't even read the earnings report. So I'll have to see what's in there. But right now, the market is reacting just fine to it. Okay, so this is Bitcoin on the 15-minute time frame. As always, there is an orange line where Bitcoin was when the equity markets closed yesterday. So that was at around 20,764. So just under 20,800. That was really our target price of what we wanted to try and confirm that we were having a relief rally. We did take a little bit of a move down this morning, and Bitcoin was down about 0.5% or 1% throughout the day, depending on where you were at. So fairly level all day. So the Bitcoin miners did much worse than Bitcoin did today. This was a very small move for Bitcoin, but the miners moved along with the NASDAQ, it would seem, once again, and had a big down day because the NASDAQ was down. This is the candle that Amazon reported their earnings in. So these two candles, Bitcoin took a huge turn to the downside for about 30 minutes. So that was reacting right along to the Amazon earnings. So while Amazon was getting taken out and down between 18 to 20%, Bitcoin was going down. So, but you can see, it looks like as soon as Apple reported, that seemed to bring some confidence back. The market was very disappointed in Amazon's forecast, and it looks to me like the market was just fine with whatever Apple had to say. So we'll see where this ends up. I'm very encouraged by this price action. I'm going to go to the 4-hour time frame and show you a little bit better what I'm talking about. Okay, on the 4-hour time frame, you can see there's a green line down here at around 19,200. We've been hanging on to this line for quite some time. And when we look at the 1 day, you'll see it even goes back a lot further than this. But a few days ago, we had a big jump. So my number one goal that I'm looking at is we have this pink line here. That was the high from the previous bull cycle for Bitcoin back in 2017. That's just under $20,000. So we finally crossed that line a few days ago, and we've been hoping to hold that as support. So we really haven't even approached it and tested it yet. So even if we do approach this and test this, if we can have a positive test and this holds as support, then I think that's just further evidence that we are in a relief rally. So despite the little bit of down activity we've had today, I'm still holding that the relief rally is going strong. Because versus the slew of bad news that came at us this week, Bitcoin is having, all in all, still a very up week. This goes all the way back to September 20th, so that is over a month ago. We've been plus or minus this green line. Most of the days over the last month plus have crossed this green line at some point during the day. We did have a few days that were above it, and then it pulled right back down to it. So this was the previous high back at the beginning of October. We have now taken out that high and set a higher high. And 20,800 is what we were looking for. And we did get even a little over that. We did get to 21,000. Given everything else going on around it, it looks like Bitcoin still continues to be strong. So I'm not going to really run through all the technicals. They're a little ambiguous right now. They still seem to be a bit bullish to me, but they've gravitated a little bit more neutral. But if I'm looking at the price action, it looks to me like over the last 3 days, we are definitely in an upward trend. And more so than that, I have a yellow arrow. This goes all the way back to September 21st. We had a local low on September 21st. That was not the lows from this summer. This summer, we hit around $17,500. We got down to about $18,100. Fast forward, and on October 13th, when CPI data came out, we flash crashed and almost exactly retested that number. So that was our local low. So from there until now, Bitcoin's up about 12, almost 13%. We were up over 15% at the peak, so we've had a little bit of a pullback. What I'm looking for is tonight for us to stay above this pink line, which was just under $20,000. That needs to be a line of support. We don't even need to go test it, and I don't think we're gonna go test it. What I'd rather see is for this to gravitate back up over 20,800. That would get us back on our path. That would get us back on the relief rally. So I think all in all, despite the fact that we've had about a day of a little bit of a downturn, given all the circumstances, I think this is actually very good price action. So I'm remaining in the relief rally camp. So we'll see what happens. And obviously we're gonna have to see in the coming days and weeks what happens to Core Scientific, and is somebody else next. That is obviously gonna put a little bit of fear into the market to watch Core Scientific, which is by far, from a production standpoint, by far the largest Bitcoin miner, come out and have to tell the SEC that it looks like maybe they're going to file for bankruptcy. So that was a dramatic thing that happened today. Bitcoin seemed to withstand that blow fairly well also. Okay, so that's all I got for real this time. Thanks again. If you made it this far, remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.